Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching, and welcome to today's DCEU Extra. I don't always do a DCEU Extra, only one that's needed because Grace Randolph, my mortal enemy, claims the Snyder Cut exists and it is done. Now, she's the first person to claim that it's actually done, complete, 100%. Now, let me be clear. I don't like Grace Randolph. She does not like me. She blocked me on Twitter. But if she's telling the truth, good luck to her. Well done. So what does this mean? I mean, Grace Randolph said a lot of crazy shit. She's trying to imply that Wonder Woman 1984 is kind of a flashpoint kind of movie that kind of changes the DCEU forever. I have seen a test screening of Wonder Woman 1984. I am not going to sit here and tell you one way or the other. I cannot do that. So I can't really talk about that issue or that subject. But I will say it's a very, very exciting movie, and I can't wait to see the theatrical version because test screenings change. You don't get what you get in the test screening. What's going on with my elbow? I nearly fell down there. Imagine if I fell down on this video. But yeah, when you see a movie in a test screening, things change. So there's no point people coming out and shouting, this happens, that happens, because you just make a twat of yourself. It's clickbait. It's great. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about her claims of the Snyder Cut. It is very probable that the Snyder Cut is complete. In recent weeks, we've had this debate over two cuts of the Snyder Cut of Justice League. That there's a version that's 165 minutes, and I think there's another version, apparently, allegedly, that's 214 minutes. Look, again, people are debating about this on Twitter, but it's very difficult to debate about something that we don't know is true or not. I don't think Grace Randolph is a liar. I think she hears stuff. So, for example, let's just say Wonder Woman 1984. She was talking about that, talking about this Flashpoint thing. We don't know. We don't know, right? We don't know. I know. I've seen the test screening, right? I've seen a test screening, right? But after that test screening, they could have gone back. Let's just say there's a Flashpoint scenario in the version of Wonder Woman 84 that I saw, right? They could go back and change that. So it's not like she was lying if it's not there in the theatrical version. It's just that they change things all the damn time because they keep on going on Twitter. They keep on looking at social media. They're looking at reactions from the consumer and the audience all the time. So it's really, really difficult for them because they're obsessed. They are obsessed that the audience like what they're selling because this is what led to Kevin Sugihara firing Zack Snyder. And I even remember when Suicide Squad was released in the theaters and the pundits and the critics were saying it was a load of rubbish and a mess. I remember an executive from Warner Brothers, and I can't remember their name, saying, this is getting ridiculous now. We can't carry on like this. And they didn't. Sugihara sacked Zack Snyder. Not because of the reactions, because of the box office. If Zack Snyder's movies were making $1 billion every time, Zack's plan would have been fulfilled and we would have seen Darkseid and everything. It's all about the box office. It's all about money. It's all about relatability. And that was the problem with Snyder's DCEU. It wasn't putting enough butts in seats. And it wasn't the feel-good that Feig's MCU was getting, right? Things are going to fall short. I mean, I don't want to talk about the MCU, but I think it's very interesting what's going on within the DCEU. There has been a lot of course correcting going on, and Walter Hamada, as I said in today's DCEU Daily, is doing a fabulous job. So Grace Randolph claims that the Snyder Cut is complete. And even though I have issues with the woman and she has issues with me, I believe her. I believe the Snyder Cut is complete. I believe she has sources. So it's interesting. Why would someone like Grace Randolph feel comfortable coming out and saying this? We know what Mark Hughes has been saying. he's 100% sure that the Snyder Cut will be streamed on what's it called? HBO Max. God, my memory's crap in it. Apparently, he reckons no one's told him, of course, which means they have, that it's definitely going to be streamed on HBO Max. And then, along with that, you put Grace Randolph's claims that the Snyder Cut is 100% complete now. I think we are going to see this movie. So let's just say Randolph is right, and let's just say Hughes is right. You know, the Snyder Cut is something we want. Why not believe? We've got to trust and believe someone. I know I have a mistrust of Mark Hughes. He's another one who's blocked me on Twitter. You lot must be thinking, God, Mick, you must be a right scummy troll. No, I'm a passionate DCEU fan. I constructively debate things, but these people don't like it when you disagree with them. Because one moment Grace Randolph is an advocate of the DCEU, then she's shouting it down. The other day, and I still watch her videos, by the way, because I'm not that childish, just because I've fallen out with someone, not to support them and enjoy them if they're talented. And Grace Randolph is a very, very talented person. And I've always said that, and I've always congratulated her for her success. She's one of the few women on YouTube that's really, really successful, and good for her. The other day she was saying, why can't DC movies be like the MCU? Why can't it be like the MCU? Because that's not the animal that Warner Brothers are. That's the reason they brought in Christopher Nolan to mould the DC cinematic extended universe. Because Warner Brothers, in their history, have made real movies with real people, and it's not about being generic and just feeding the beast, and they forget about the film. They want to make memorable movies, and Man of Steel and Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, however you feel about those movies, are memorable, remarkable movies that no consumer, no moviegoer will ever forget, whether you love them or hate them. And that's the point. So we're never going to be the MCU, but I will tell you here, I am very, very confident that we will eventually see the Snyder Cut. Now, how is this going to work for American audiences and international audiences? We know that the DC Universe and HBO Max, HBO Max will not be available to international audiences. And this is very interesting with Disney Plus, by the way. Disney Plus will not be available to European audiences, but it will be available to all South and North American audiences, New Zealand and Australia straight off the bat. That's interesting because HBO Max and currently DC Universe are only available to American audiences. So let's just say we're getting the Snyder Cut, right? Let's just assume, because I think with everyone being so outspoken and it being so talked about now within the mainstream entertainment media, we can kind of assume it's happening, and that's fantastic. So you people in America will be able to see it in HBO Max. Hooray! But what about me, who lives in Cyprus, a little island here in Europe, in the Mediterranean? What about people in the UK, people in Wales, Ireland, blah, 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 all these people in Europe? How are we supposed to see this film? I believe it will be available maybe via Netflix, or there'll be a deal with Prime Video for European audiences. So I think it won't just be exclusive. So you don't worry. Even if it is on HBO Max and that's announced, I think all audiences will be able to see this film. And let me tell you this, I will do something dodgy, and I don't care, Warner Brothers, if you tell YouTube to cancel my account. If it's exclusively only on HBO Max that can only be viewed in the United States of America, I will find a way to get HBO Max. I don't care. If I have to move to America for one day just to see the Snyder Cut, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm really positive. That is a really positive thing that Grace Randolph has done. And basically, guys, I like Grace Randolph. I don't really dislike her. I respect her. We have some issues. I have some issues with her. Sometimes she annoys me. And sometimes if someone says something you don't like and you're constructive, you know, it's a bit childish blocking and muting them. So if you're a fan of Grace Randolph, if you follow Grace Randolph on Twitter, ask her to unblock @MoviesTVMad on Twitter so we can all be friends and constructively talk, because we're all fans at the end of the day. And I believe that Grace Randolph loves movies just as I do. Right, moving on, even though the Joker isn't part of the DCEU, it's part of the DC movies verse. And one of the most exciting things, knowing that Joaquin Phoenix was going to be cast as the Joker, one of the most exciting things, of course, is he's a great actor. And great actors, critically acclaimed actors like this, proper actors, don't do comic book movies about comic book characters. But when you've got Todd Phillips involved and when you've got Walter Hamada involved, and they're able to come up with a script that interests him, that kind of shows the way movies used to be made, where they take a character and they disassemble him and they really flesh a character out. People like Joaquin are going to be very much involved. I mean, I've always been fascinated by Joaquin Phoenix. Just the fact that his brother River died at a young age, that must have affected him. Maybe, when he was considering becoming an actor, maybe he thought, should I be doing this? In a way, this is the industry that killed my brother. Do I want to be part of these feeders? Do I want to be sucked up and spat out again? But he went in there and he's become a great actor. I remember watching the Gladiator movie. Everyone was going on and on about Russell Crowe, and I was going, Joaquin Phoenix is amazing. The character, the villain he plays, is amazing. He's cold, but also very, very emotional. So I have a quote here from Joaquin Phoenix, and I've posted it on my Instagram. If you're interested, it's BigMouth555. But anyway, here is what Joaquin had to say. And as usual, it's so insightful and so intelligent. And this is what I'm talking about. When you get an MCU actor, they're just going to be put out there and told what to say, what Disney wants them to say. But not Joaquin. This is beautiful. And yet, we are all guilty. We all have sinned. And I thought, here was this film and these characters where it wouldn't be easy for you as an audience. There are times when you're going to feel yourself connected to him and rooting for him, and times when you should be repulsed by him. And I like the idea of challenging the audience and just challenging myself to explore a character like that. It's rare to explore characters like that in any movie, but specifically in the superhero genre. Very, very interesting. Now, Joaquin is a really interesting character. As I say, I'm fascinated by the guy as a fan. And I remember seeing the test screening of this movie, and he is right. He's absolutely right. Sometimes you feel this guy. You feel him. This is an ordinary man. It's very emotional. An ordinary man who's suffering with mental health issues, that's helping his mother, who's inspired by his mother. He's trying to be a good person despite everything, and he keeps on getting knocked down by society again and again and again. This is what society does to people. This is a reality. They're taking a character like the Joker, and they're bringing in the real world and saying the real world creates this character, because this is what happens in life. Us as a society and our bullshit rules, you've got to get married, you've got to have a job, you've got to be normal, you've got to have normal reactions, you've got to wear the mates, you've got to be this, you've got to have a Samsung phone, you've got to not have an iPhone, and it goes on and on. Some people cannot live in those rules, and this is what this film does. And what happens is, very slowly, this man is psychologically being torn to shreds. But instead of crawling to the floor, he rises up. He rises up and he creates something. He rebels against society. And I suppose this is a kind of a spoiler, but you've kind of seen it in the teaser trailer. He raises this clown Joker army. And it's fucking amazing. Look, I ain't going to tell you any more. But what I'm going to tell you is, as I say, top 10 favourite films of all time. I don't even know what I put it in, Born in the 4th of July, JFK, films like that, Untouchables. This film is there. What Walter Hamada and Todd Phillips have done, they've looked at the DC comic universe and said, we got the DCEU. We can be a little bit generic with that. We can be a little bit fun. Get the families and the kids to watch it. But with the black label, we can do something different. We can do Mean Streets. We can go really, really Scorsese with it. We can make real movies. So generic movies on that side, fun generic movies. Look at what Walter Hamada did with Shazam, bringing in David F. Sandberg. fun at its very, very core. And audiences loved it. Whatever you people with an agenda say, they loved that movie. It made 4 times its budget. Brilliant, right? And then on the right side, DC Black Label, you can go Scorsese. You can go Mean Streets. You can go Untouchables. Whatever you want. This is how it's going to work. And it works. This film, sometimes you know within media when something's going to hit big. And this film, my friends, is going to hit big. It's going to be untouchable. Even if SJW starts saying, oh, it's about a white man who kills people that everybody loves. It's so much more than that. I don't care if you're black, white, pink. This is about male mental health. You're doing a Joker story, and they're very faithful with the Joker. As they say, they're not adapting a story, but there are elements in there, right? This is an Elseworlds Joker, and you see the understandable, relatable way how this can happen to a person. It is not only beautiful, it's compelling, and it's fantastic. And I think not only have we got an Oscar nominee and a Venice Film Festival winner here, I think we have got one of, and as I say, I don't know if there's ever been a $1 billion R-rated movie. This film is going to hit $1 billion. This film is not only going to be highly successful, because I've seen the test screening, I know. This film is going to hit demands from the consumer. Give me more of that. Make me feel this again. Let me see a character that I've read all my life and do him like that. And this is why I keep on talking about the MCU. It's been juggling balls and catching them by accident. Now, all of a sudden, Walter Hamada comes in and he changes the game. Generic movies there, compelling, deep, dark, gritty movies over here. Look, if you're not excited yet about the DC film universe, then you shouldn't be part of the fandom, because it's very, very exciting. And I'll repeat myself, what Walter Hamada is doing is genius. We're already hearing that Todd Phillips is willing to do a sequel. I think there will be sequels. This will probably be the first time that Joaquin Phoenix has ever come back to play the same character. This is now really interesting because they can create a universe with Elseworld characters that we don't know. Superman, Batman, the Penguin, anything. They can do anything they want. As the DC world of films expands, you see how small the MCU is. They've been sticking it to us for a very long time. But all of a sudden, what happened with Justice League was a blessing in disguise. And that is what has brought this new expanded universe to us. Be excited. Be really, really excited. Because when I think of DC, I'm passionate. I love DC. All stemming from Superman. It's brilliant. It's exciting. And the potential is limitless. Limitless, my friends, and I can't wait. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing this shirt, by the way, my niece is over from the UK, has been begging me to wear a shirt while I do these videos. I'm freaking boiling, so I'm going to have to stop this video in a minute and take it off, because I normally run around topless. Terrible body, but doesn't matter. Anyway, please comment down below. What do you think of Grace Randolph's revelation that the Snyder Cut exists and it's done? I believe her. Do you? I think you do. And Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Are you excited with what Walter Hamada is doing? You know I am, but I want to hear your feedback. Tell everyone about the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.